God. Welcome to Fred Hampton Leftist. My name is James, and I just messed up the entire thing. I'm like, what in the world is JB doing? Look, blame JB, not Nick, not the Bang Sisters. Blame me because I just stuck it live. Why? What in the world is JB? That's it. Look,
those first 5 minutes.
He's like, no.
Blame me because I just stuck it live. Why? What in the world is JB? That's it.
Those first 5 minutes. Those first 5 minutes was fire too. That's a shame. Well, anyway, we got warmed up. So welcome to Fred Hampton Leftist. This your boy Nick. Thursday panel. We got James. You guys see he fired up. I'm gonna give him a shout out again because I gave him I hyped you up perfectly the first time. But anyway, JB Font Show. The JB Font Show on YouTube. He got his own channel. He been posting a lot of videos, so he might be a little tired. What's up, James?
Yo, I'm so mad at myself right now because I was trying to go live on Rockfin. I'm like, why would it let me go live? Like, dang it!
We had technical issues, if you guys don't know, but we had a intro that y'all missed. But it's cool. We got a lot of great things we're gonna talk about.
I'm sorry to the Bang Sisters.
This is what I'm sorry that people didn't hear about the lightning.
Right, exactly.
Well, okay. So yeah, just a quick rundown. Lightning struck right next to my window. Mm-hmm. I was scared shitless basically, and then next thing you know, I was just like, I want my mama. I went out to the living room and she was right there looking for the remote to turn off the TV because she tells us whenever we have electronics on, don't keep the TV on. That's the story.
Exactly. Stay away from water, no electronics. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And keep quiet while it's thunder and lightning outside.
That's just in your house, I think.
We also have I've been watching those shows for a while. You guys know what we do. Our whole job, my goal is to give platform to as many strong, powerful Black leftists as possible. I've been watching the Bang Sisters. They got a lot of good content on there. So we invited them on the roundtable today. Welcome to Fred Hampton Leftist, Courtney and Keisha.
Thank you very much.
Great.
So,
excited.
You guys know what we are about at Fred Hampton Leftist here. And whenever I invite someone new on this show, I always want to give them a good chance kind of tell you guys what they're about. And once again, I see like Courtney's tweets a lot. I see a few of the videos they drop. I think they're pretty solid. So, but I'll let you guys be a judge of that. Courtney and Keisha, what are your politics like? How you get there? Floor is yours.
Hey everybody. Hey y'all. Seeing some of y'all in the chat and everything. Seeing Nick and James in real life. I see y'all on Twitter. I'm so happy.
So cool.
I think for us, what we're trying to do is, so we both lost like 3 jobs each during the pandemic. Wow. So, and we were able to get on unemployment during some of it. So we took that time to start a channel because we wanted to, because like we went to college, but we don't use our degrees for anything. I've been a waitress for I don't know how long. Keisha was,
always
interior design,
but waitressing was always my backup job or second job,
Yeah, I mean, it's just I feel like there are a lot of people who are kind of in our position where you just like I've seen too much, like we're too smart and we're sharing too much information for us to not have used this opportunity to at least kind of like bring things together. And so like our stuff is just like Keisha's not really on Twitter.
No.
So we just kind of try to talk about politics in a way that we would talk about it anyways when we're together. But also just try to relate it to I just want people to think about like the people in Congress get 16 weeks off. What do you get? Like we just try to like connect things in ways that people maybe don't always think about, and we don't do it in a super proper way on our channel. We try to have fun and make fun of things because, not everybody wants to interact with politics in a super serious way, but it does affect your life and people should be paying attention. So if we have to be, so we're just be chill over here and hopefully explain some stuff and be helpful.
Yeah, that's kind of the format that I like, because I like more of a chill conversation. There's people that always like, they button themselves up and they're like, all right, I'm going to be the establishment and I'm going to say the news. Right. And the thing is, they could drop some fire. Like they would drop some like legit fire, but are you really going to reach someone who's like apolitical if you sound like them in your presentation? Right. So that ever since I have my show, and you guys see my friend Leftist shows, I just talk to people. and that's kind of how Rogan got popular. No matter how you feel about him, he brings people on, he just talk to them. And that's always how I talk to people in real life. So I'm not going to just have a show and turn to fucking Don Lemon. What the hell? Like so.
Oh, Don. Listen, us light skins, I know we have some problems. Oh no, Don, listen.
So I know I got a Midwest accent. I know the presentation not perfect, but you guys take it or leave it. That's how I was like. I'm gonna talk, and I hope you guys value the content, and that way you guys kind of do as well. You add a charm to a few of your videos. I found this. I want to show you guys this. Josana will be joining us in approximately 20 minutes. So I'm looking forward to having her join us. Because this is how I found you guys. Brandon Joy Gray is the homie. I had a great conversation with her on the show. She gave you guys a good shout out, and honestly, that's why I found you guys. And I've been I had my eye out ever since. So this is like a 2-minute video, just kind of give you guys a background on their channel, and then we can kind of ask you guys about like how you got started and the future of the channel. But this is what kind of the mindset behind their show. So let's play this video. So actually, let me read the tweet. It said, "Listen, as 2 Black girls from a small rural, predominantly white town, we had questions on this whole Nazi punching strategy. We covered this on our show. Sabby also did a segment when Brown Joy Gray had this like shit libs were going after her because she had
when are they not?
But anyway, let me play the video. This is their take. Anyway, this is a good idea to see how they cover their channel.
How does this work? If on a day-to-day basis you have to interact with white people, whether they be Nazis or not, that's another question that I have. But you have to interact with them. You just to get through your day-to-day life. Mm-hmm. You can't punch everybody in the face. So like, explain this theory more. If your theory is to punch all Nazis in the face, then like, you know, what does that one Black kid in school do? Or what, you know, when you're the only person, what do you do? Because realistically, you can't make it through your life if you don't go along to get along sometimes. That's unfortunate. Reality. Yeah, I wish that you could, but as you can see, the government will kill you. So it's like you can't. Like, if it's not your neighbor who's going to kill you, then the government's going to kill you.
She's basically saying, I don't think that you people understand what really goes into de-radicalization. And it's like, with what you're tying in is we are living it.
Right.
We are living it. We do know it takes years because we've had to pick and choose those battles. And that's the issue that I have with her answers and her lack of willingness to offer strategy and just like say, here, we should do X, Y, Z, because we honestly want to know. Nobody's like tearing you down. It's just a meeting of the minds. What should we be doing, first of all? But also, like, we have been living it, and you have to hear our experience where, you know, if you're on a back road in a rural town and a white cop pulls you over, you're going to punch them?
You know, you're not.
You're at your boyfriend's house and you're just meeting his parents and you didn't realize they were fucking racist, you're just going to cause a fight in the middle of their living room? Or because the other issue I have is that she's also making this argument that she cares about the safety of the people, or that we can't be having any kind of sympathy for these people because these people are putting her in danger. Or people like her in danger in her life. But then what are you asking people to do by punching a Nazi? Aren't you asking them to take on a certain amount of danger that 100% a lot of people are not equipped to take on?
Glad you found the clip. Yeah, seriously.
I wanted to ask you guys about this. Welcome to the stream, Josana. You got Josana Bass here. Because there was a point that was made throughout the whole thing that kind of frustrated me, and Sabby made this point in the video as well, where they were trying to pretend just because we had a different strategy and different mindset that somehow a Black leftist is weak on white supremacy just because our tactics are slightly different. Right. Now I understand, and you guys know, you guys heard me speak all the time. I am a martial artist. I am more than I was talking about with the JB. I am waiting for a Proud Boy to do something crazy to me. But the reality of the situation, as someone who actually talks to these people, you can deconvert these people. I live in the red state. You can bring these people to our side, and then the people who are too far gone, you build a coalition to defeat them. But and what Bree asked her was, "What is your long game?
How do you scale that?"
So I'm gonna pass it to you guys, because you guys come from a rural area. So I'm gonna tie it with this question as well. What is it like to be a Black leftist and growing up in a rural area? And what was your response to like her response, like her strategy? But I'll pass it to you guys to take your take on that, and then we move on.
I mean, even beyond growing up in a rural area, our mom worked at the Pentagon for 42 years. So we're also in like a very like military area and a very, we're supposed to say a Blue Lives Matter area. So I think our experience is kind of unique. I mean, we came from like living in LA where people had a very like urban experience, and then to come back here and be back in this rural experience, I think is what made it so interesting that Bree was having this conversation with Talia. We were like, wait a minute, how is that coming into real life? Because we're using our real life experience. I mean,
Well, I'll just say, like, okay, for example, Keisha was prom queen at her high school, and I was homecoming queen at my high school. But nobody ever asked me to a dance. Their parents didn't want them to have a Black girl in the picture with them.
Right.
And I didn't find that out until I was literally at the dance with the guy and we were going to take pictures. And he was like, well, we can't really. There were other things like, we're so close to the Pentagon and people being obsessed with George Bush. I went on a vacation once with a girl to the beach, and her dad brought a George Bush cardboard cutout with them. And we weren't allowed to use Heinz ketchup because John Kerry. Like, people were, I mean, and you have to understand back, like just a few years ago, people were emboldened. Like, you were white and you were like, yeah. I mean, people around here used to say, listen, we have the Confederate flag because it's just,
right.
It's just, our heritage. It doesn't mean we're racist. And everybody accepted it. And you couldn't talk about your experience. People saw you in a way, but they definitely tokenized you. And they felt like, oh, I have a Black friend, so I'm okay. And I felt that a lot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it was, also just hard from like, our teacher's standpoint. We had a principal that like, she terrorized me, and then I'm 8 years older than Court. And then because she didn't like me for whatever reason, because whatever her reason was, she didn't like me. And then she terrorized my younger sister. I mean,
but beyond that, so Keisha was getting stalkering mail notes in her locker. And she told the principal, and she was like, it must be because you're wearing too short of skirts or something, something, something. Then the N-word is written on our shed outside. Nobody does anything from the school. Nobody does anything.
Meanwhile, people will have you believe, they'll say, oh, racism is dead. Racism is dead. No, meanwhile, we are living it. We are living it. Right?
Exactly. Not when we got just a month ago, maybe we were talking to our parents, and they're like, oh yeah, down the street, somebody got the N-word like written on their driveway or whatever.
It's one Black family that lives in a neighborhood.
Right. And this is today, or a month ago. I mean, these things are happening all the time to us, and we're living this experience. And as much as, we might want to punch a Nazi.
I'm angry. I mean, trust me, I'm angry. I have plenty of rage. I mean, I do some crazy shit, but you have to pick your battles and choose your own safety. And that does not mean that you are allowing any grace for white supremacy.
Yes.
But you do have to pick your battles. How are you going to win this fight if you are in jail on a charge or whatever it is?
Rolled up in a carpet somewhere because a bunch of white kids you went to high school with killed you or something? Like, there's a certain reality to it.
Yeah, I want to get Josana here soon, but there's another point I want to make because you guys brushed on that just now. That is another reason why I was grossly annoyed by the whole Tanya situation. Because during the Tanya situation, a lot of shit lived took her side. You could then like Brown Joy because she was Bernie Sanders' press secretary. There's always that like animosity from the Hillary Clinton I'm with her to now the K-High people that they just use this as an opportunity. They said, oh, see, Bree is being weak on white supremacy because she don't want to punch Nazis. Do you guys know how absurd it is for these people to say that while they are supporting Kamala Harris, who is a cop, who is one of the largest tools of white supremacy that we have? She built up the prison industrial complex. She built up and I seen those people taking Tanya's side like, yeah, you are weak on white supremacy. Like, bro, you are building up the prison state.
And that was my question, because I said, okay, what do we mean when we're talking about Nazis then? Because I would consider Joe Biden to be at the top of the list. He has created the carceral system. He brought us back to slavery. He literally brought us back there.
And they happily voted for him.
He did all of that. And then they vote for him. Not only that, but most black women, academic especially, bend over backwards to defend him. And it's so frustrating. That's what I think. I'm like, we should be punching him.
There's so many people deeply serious in this political discussion because they like, we fighting white supremacy. Let's vote for Jim Crow Joe. Like, what are you talking about? That's why we had to make a platform. That's why we want to share our platform with other Black leftists, because we can share our experiences. I want to get Josana in here. I got still a few more things to add. Let's get Josana and then JB after her. Josana, do you have anything you want to add? Welcome to the show.
Just want to say hi, ladies. Hi, JB. Mwah. Sorry I'm late. I just want to say to all the Black leftists out there, like I was one day, this is a safe space for you. We not sell out. We are not sellouts. We are not trying to buy your soul so we can be all comfortable in our liberal lives, because we are not. We are real leftists. We are the real deal here. I'm going to live it like that.
JB, you have anything you want to
add? Yeah, to welcome my sister Josana. So good to see you. With the sophistication and the glasses, I love it. One of the things that you both were alluding to was about the white supremacy and its absurdity at the fact that people want to talk about punching Nazis in the face, but yet they're the same ones that voted for Joe Biden. Like, what? You're gonna punch a Nazi, but you're also gonna vote for one? What does that make? That doesn't make any sense. And so you get a lot of people who are going to bat, and every single moment you say something against Joe Biden, it's, but Donald Trump, but Donald Trump, but Donald Trump. And the funny part is, you'll go, okay, so you're against one white supremacist, but you're for the other.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the funny part. They'll go, well, and then you put him in a corner and it's like, well, he's not a white supremacist. Really? What did Kamala Harris do at one of the first debates? What did she tag him on? Well, who did he eulogize back then?
Mm-hmm. His dog was named after him too.
Yo, so here's my thing. What has changed in the last 250 years of this nation as far as white supremacy goes? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. We have always had a white supremacist president. Even one that's closer to my shade has been pushing the white supremacist agenda. So guess what? Nothing has changed. Nothing has fundamentally changed. So when it comes to people like Biden, yeah, that era of white supremacy also needs to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the most damaging and dangerous kind, I think, is because it's so polite. It's so polite, and people love that civility. And that makes me more mad because it's just.
Here's one thing that people need to realize, and anybody who's watching right now, record this, post it up on YouTube, post it up on Twitter, whatever. A racist can still be nice.
Duh.
This is why they
nice.
And this is why they prefer Joe Biden, because they prefer they don't want it to be seen. They don't want to see the racism. They don't want to see the white supremacy. They don't want to see the state violence. Their problem with Trump, and you see the people who still apologize for Joe Biden now, the people that give him an A, for example. We're going to get to her very soon. See, these people, they have no actual issue with Trump's policies. It was just the aesthetics. Because at this point, if you still apologizing for him, that is exactly what it was. You just didn't want to see it. So the liberals, and now you got the neo-progressives, I heard some people call them, they now apologize for him because now he put a nice face on these things they used to tweet about. They're like, they used to tweet, abolish ICE, Donald Trump bombing Syria. But now Joe Biden is in charge. Oh, Biden is exceeding expectations. And we played this video where she was like, Biden is he's a real unifier. He's
a mediator.
Mediator. It's like, you are clowns.
That was wild. That's those kind of videos when the progressives are doing that and providing that cover. And this was, a kind of, just to button up the Talia thing, I would say my only question for that group of people would be, how many fights have you gotten into? I'm just saying.
How many times you get in a real fist fight?
Show me some fights with a Nazi, and then we can talk.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see it. They talk a big game, and then they build alliances with people like Bill Kristol. Like, I thought you stand against white supremacy, but you like Bill Kristol. Explain yourself.
Explain.
But I think this is a good time to me to introduce this because everyone knows what's beyond. Because we talk about the progressives' role and the role of people like Pramila Jayapal. Pramila Jayapal is what I like to call progressive fodder, right? Her job is to sound progressive, but they always lose. They always lose, and then despite losing, despite the establishment, despite Joe Biden, despite the entire liberal machine destroying their agenda, Pramila Jayapal wrote Medicare for All, and we're not even getting a public option. And she said Joe Biden get an A, and he's a mediator. That's your bill. You wrote a bill that you had no plan on implementing or even fighting for. Isn't that what's more nefarious in politics than that? You got anything to add?
I mean, it's the wow. So it's so obviously nefarious. I mean, yeah. What other reason would you have? I mean, it just makes me, I feel like, so, I'm kind of like late to the game. Like, I mean, in leftism. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I lived in DC for 15 years. I was there during the Obama years, excited for all of that. It was not until like much later that I started to like look back and see. And I think like you have to look back and see what's going on. So it makes me wonder, like someone like Jayapal, where is this coming from? Like, how do you go from writing it to then just completely whitewashing and being like, oh, he's doing a great job. I mean, it just makes me wonder, like, did someone get to them? Is it like what, or did you never believe in it in the first place? What's the long game?
It does seem that there's a lot of that sheepdogging to the DNC. And I would say in terms of asking us about our journey, like I've always been a little shy to jump on calling, the squad, the fraud squad. Like I'm always like, oh, well, maybe, I always give people the benefit of the doubt.
I gave them a lot.
But at this point, trust me. At this point, you can't have people lie in your face like this many times and not call it out. And it becomes like, oh, you're the bad guy for calling out and holding them accountable for things that they said they would do. Like, whoa. Like, don't gaslight me. Like, it just feels like a bad relationship. And it seems like the squad is almost like reeling in that suburbanite, that kind of group more. Like they're almost, because of AOC, like I feel like the suburban people are really kind of, they're focusing on them more and leaving out the actual left progressives that got them where they were. It just seems like you see that shift.
Josan, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think defending, like whitewashing your opinion and defending Joe Biden and his policies is what is convenient for you to do, so you can keep your bread where it is. And I think like you have to go back and see, this is my dream for every single American, especially my people and other people of color, because like I really want us to see the truth. Because like I'm a foreigner and I see that. I see the theater playing in front of y'all and no action being taken. And it blows my mind. And I start feeling crazy because I'm like, you guys have guns, like you guys have power, like, and nothing is changing. And it keeps on going. Like there's a story about like Democrats and Republicans being the same person. For all of us outside here, that's what we see. And I think like the other day, a month ago, I saw, and I'm very bad with names. They're lucky that I'm not going to expose them right now. I saw one of the leaders of, not leader, but like a speaker for the Black Lives Matter movement last year. And I started following this person on Instagram because she was so inspiring. And I was like, wow. And then I see a post from her recently saying like, you are not overwhelmed. You are not going through a hard time. You are being lazy. Buy yourself a calendar, organize your life, wake up early. And I bashed on that bitch. I was like in the middle of a pandemic with a white supremacist, quiet, government, you telling your own people that they are lazy? Get your capitalist ass out of here. It's like, and then she posted about if you don't identify with the message, you don't have to bash it or take it. And I was like, dude,
no, I'm glad you spoke
you're
up.
so lucky I don't have vocabulary.
I'm glad you spoke up, because that's the capitalist propaganda that infested our community. And people don't like it when I say it, but I say it anyway, because we need to stop holding our tongue. We need to stop playing nice. Because I always say, y'all need to get out the plantation. And I know some right wingers say it, but I mean it differently. The right wingers, they say get out the plantation. They're like, oh, vote Republicans. No, get off the capitalist plantation that is stealing your wealth, that's imprisoning your people. And then you call your people lazy?
Yeah.
You call your people lazy. If you know the history of our people and how we built our wealth up over and over and over again, despite our system crashing it, we built this fucking country. And you don't call us lazy? You don't join the white supremacists and try and I see black people do this all the time. Black boomers do this all the time. And people wonder why I drag black boomers, because they were like, oh, well, Barack Obama did this as well. He when he was talking to the Ferguson protest, he was like, oh, pull up your pants, get a job, that kind of shit. Fuck you. We work harder, like our origins and the shit that we have gone through. I'm gonna go out.
I just think about the rest of the world thinking that Obama is like the apocalypse president. They're like, Obama is. And I'm like, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's the one in the book, you know.
I remember people were saying that.
Yeah.
James, do you?
I'm saying that just because.
Do you want to address this super chat as well? You address that one as well.
Yeah, I wanted to address actually that Chuck. Okay, the super chat. Thanks, by the way, JM. Chuck Schumer endorsed India Walton. Thoughts? My thoughts? It's suspect as hell.
Schumer's been doing a lot of this seemingly progressive stuff. Isn't it because he doesn't want to be primaried or something like that? I mean,
so with India Walton, she proclaimed that she was a socialist and she was running in the Democratic Party. And so the Democratic Party of Buffalo did not want to acknowledge her winning the primary.
Right.
And for the most part, if you win that primary, you're going to win the general. So it was pretty much said and done that she's going to be the next mayor. But they were even trying to think of ways to take the seat of mayor away. Right.
They were going to get rid of it. That's right.
Yeah. So because of that, a lot of people were outraged. Right. And so it's almost like it's a if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. And let's just pull her into the Democratic Party, where it's kind of like if they pull you in, something's going to happen. And so this is why I say it's suspect. No disrespect to India Walton, but it's just like if something good is happening to you and the wrong people come around, they put their arm around you and try to befriend you, watch out.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I actually have a slightly different take.
Okay.
And I see your point you're making, James, but I'm not going to use this to cast doubt on India. I just think this is Chuck Schumer being like opportunist, because the Democrats and corporations, they do this all the time. They do things where they can sound progressive and do progressive, but they know it's not like gonna like hurt their donors or anything. So this is something that, well, she's running against like a Republican now. It's like it seems like she's like the favorite to win this. So it's like it's obvious that you gotta support her. Like, so it doesn't hurt him to do this. So it's just something that he gotta do to make him seem more progressive in a New York that is becoming more anti-capitalist. But and this is by the polls. So New York is becoming more progressive, and he's worried about having someone like AOC primary him. So he do like a lot of these head fakes toward progressivism. But when it actually comes to fighting for this stuff, where is he in his fights? He's not actually fighting for it. Is he standing up for Stephen Donziger, who's been fucking arrested? Where is he on that? Is he calling out the military-industrial complex? Is he calling out the national security state? You see, there's lines that he's not going to cross, but there's lines that he could easily cross to sound progressive. But sorry, I think do you guys want to add something to that as well? And then I will get to the next.
I would come out, and that's why I will never be a candidate for nothing, because I would come out and be like, I don't want your support.
Yeah, why don't they ever do that?
I knew Jamal Bowman was suspect. I knew Jamal Bowman was suspect the second that remember when Barack Obama endorsed him, and he was like, oh my God, Barack Obama. Bro, I'll be like, fuck, I don't want it.
It depends on how you receive it, or depends on how you receive it. But I do think, like Josana said earlier, theater, I mean, it's just the perfect word. all of them are him, especially. Like, we saw a clip of him like at a thing for Black people, and he was like, he was
doing like a little
so he's trying. Okay, Chucky is out there in the streets.
He wants to reach the people, I guess. I mean, and he wanted to legalize weed, which, you know, that seems to be coming any day now, right? It's this, Chuck's been working on it. I mean, I feel like he's going to use whatever little method that he can to just make himself look good.
It is interesting, though, that he's the one who's trying to make himself appear the most progressive. And I do think it's because of the races in New York. I mean, he's just trying to protect himself. There's not anything where he's like really having to put any skin in the game. I don't see.
Yeah. So, Colin, thank you for the super chat here. Obama's speech the other day was not for us. It was for the Black boomers. That's who he appealed to. 100%. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. The Democrat Party already know they have young Black people disenfranchised. So they don't even try to appeal to them.
I mean, Obama is, even if, I guess I'm so confused with people as Black people, because even if you rode with him through the whole presidency, right? And you were like, okay, maybe his hands were tied.
Couldn't be me.
Whatever. Fine. Well, let's let that be a wash. He still stopped the NBA protests. Why? He still had all the moderates coalesce around Biden. Why? Yep. You know, there are just things where you got to be like, this guy is not for us. But then here he is blaming us for him not putting forth enough progressive policy or listening to voters and maybe not putting Hillary Clinton as the candidate. Like, how can that be on us? We all voted.
Right.
That was so crazy that he said that.
It's crazy because I remember, I think when I moved in here, it was 2013. It was his second time, right? His second round. Mm-hmm. And my friend told me, like, oh, he used to be like Bernie. He used to be worse than Bernie, like to the left. And in that moment, I understood, okay, so if Bernie's gonna be just like him soon. Like, the rule is that you play your part, you get your votes, and you go make the white supremacist machine run and run. You work for white supremacists. You're not going to be a Black leftist when you are a politician. Get out of there.
Yeah, there's no way. No. How?
They know the playbook, and we see the playbook playing out right now, because on Hampton Leftist, when I criticize like AOC, for example, when I criticize Bernie Sanders, I am not using shitty, lazy, right-wing culture war arguments.
Right.
I am criticizing them from the left. Yeah. And there are people that get so upset at us for doing that because they put her on this pedestal. Like, she's this celebrity figure. Does that sound familiar to you? Barack Obama. You can tell a Black boomer that Barack Obama bombed a hospital. He bombed Doctors Without Borders. You can tell him that, like, the Republicans, like, bro, I am not backing anyone who turned one of our states in Africa to a slave trade. Thank you, John Lewis, as well. People got mad at me because I was like, fuck John Lewis. John Lewis is responsible for turning Libya into a slave state.
There, okay. So I used to do stand up. So this is another part of my background, but like at the Comedy Store and like hang out on shows, stuff like that. So what I've learned from being around famous people in Hollywood, and I think you can see it with Katie Couric's book coming out, and she covered for RBG. If you are operating at that high level, you have sold out so much you've sold out. There's no way you're hosting a show on TV. You agree to the neo-lib agenda. You're hosting that Tonight Show or whatever the hell it is that's stupid. You got to say their talking points. Mm-hmm. If you're a host on The View, the DNC is calling you and they're telling you what's okay to say, and you have to be okay with that. So the same thing I feel like with politicians is happening. It's like they're getting taken in, they're getting celebutized, I guess you could say, and I don't understand. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you guys think is going to take for Black boomers to take a step back and say, okay, we were duped. This is fucked up. Okay, we got played. How do we recoup from this? Like, we're having a little bit of luck with our mom, a little bit, but I mean, I feel like that's so important because, you know, we need to get them on our side, but it's such a hard time getting them to just like understand that they were taken for a ride. Sorry.
I can answer this. I'm not gonna be too long because I got more to add to this. I did entire shows on this, guys. So I'll try to be very short. I'll try, and then I'll pass it to Josana next, and then JB go after her. But a lot of people who know how I got started, I quit my job to canvass, and I canvassed in multiple states for Bernie. And during that time, I was in South Carolina, and I was with Ray Fisher. I told the story before. He was the guy who plays Cyborg on the Justice League. We was going around and we was giving speeches in black barbershops. And people think like, oh, he just tweeted. No, this is how I got started. I was giving speeches in black barbershops in conservative ass South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wearing socialist gear. You guys see the t-shirt I got? Eat the Rich. I was wearing this, canvassing with black conservatives. These people vote Democrat, but these people are conservatives, guys. Like, you guys don't understand. They people was telling you this. Like, even though they vote Democrat out of tradition, Jim Clyburn is conservative, so they're like, that's our politics. They are very economically conservative, socially conservative. I talked to many people that was like, I don't like Pete Buttigieg because he's gay. I'm like, whoa, that's not my criticism. That's not that is not why I was. But anyway, my point is, these people always been conservative. But I went to these barbershops. I was going door to door, and I was flipping these people on these issues. So how do you do that? One, don't insult their intelligence. Two, you gotta be policy based. Don't insult voters know what's going. Like, people who are like partisans. If you're a liberal, if you're a conservative, you're gonna have a hard time because you're gonna be like, oh, we should vote for Joe Biden. They're gonna look at you like, fuck out of here.
It's not about the person, right?
Yeah, it's about the ideas. So the thing is, that's why I told people I don't. And sorry, I'm gonna pass it. But I told people I don't regret canvassing for Bernie, even though I got a lot of criticism from him now, because I wasn't even selling the man. I was selling the ideas. Mm-hmm. And to the point, I was actually going too far left on a lot of these ideas, apparently. But I had people agree with me that we should cut the military budget. I had people like black boomers like, yeah, we should have healthcare for all people. Oh yeah, we should. Yeah, living wage. Hell yeah, we should. Like, bro, it was easy. These people are just misled. But sorry, I went long enough. I'll go Josana and then James. You guys can just add from there.
I feel like, with respect, as Nick said, like, do not suppose that they don't know. I think they know, but I do think that there is a moment that you make a choice, and sometimes this choice is based in fear. And when I talk to people, I've always had, or I always try to have it's impossible, but I try to be as empathetic as I can without diminishing no one. And like, without being naive to be like, oh, everybody's like, they did that because they had no other choice. No, they have choices, especially the ones that are rich. Because like in my country, it's really rare. You don't have a middle to high class composed of black people. Black people, we are poor. We are born and raised in struggle. But here you have other, you know, like it's completely different. And I know that this, like, it can be hard to connect, but I think if you connect with empathy, it's just like, I mean, I still believe in people. I don't think it's possible to know that your own people are struggling and you directly are being a target of that. There is somewhere in your heart that you know. You go into that room and you know that the room hates you, but hates you with class. So you have to be able to read between the lines. It's not possible that you're there in the room and you're like, everything is fine. No.
Before I pass it to James and I'll pass it to Courtney and Keisha, I'll address this super chat here. I think it's clear, and thank you for the super chat, by the way, John, and thank you for the constructive comment. I don't think it's fair to say what we're doing is blaming our boomers. I have said multiple times, I have nothing but love and respect and admiration for lefty boomers. If you're a lefty boomer, think about what that means. If you're a lefty boomer, you went through a lifetime of insane, high-level capitalist imperialist propaganda. And after 60 plus years of propaganda, you still said, fuck this shit.
Right.
Meanwhile, and once again, this is not me blaming our boomers, but we got to be real. You got to know that Bernie Sanders only had like 2% of the 65 plus. Like, statistically, if you look at polls, they are conservative. They denied the climate crisis, and they put us in a position where we are fucked. So I think I am allowed as a young person to have righteous anger against a generation that failed me.
Yeah.
And I can have that anger while at the same time acknowledging that we have strong lefty boomer comrades. And I don't like, and sorry, I don't like when people like, oh, you can't speak truth to your power. You can't truth to this. Oh, you don't hurt my feelings. You can't criticize white people because I'm white. You hurt my feelings. That's kind of what you're doing there. Like, I'm not criticizing you if you're a good boomer. You know where you stand. But as a young person, I feel like the black boomer sold us out. That's just period. And
James Clyburn.
That's a fact. So I got the right to say that. I believe that. I'm sorry. But thank you for the comment. Anyone want to address anything off that? But I do. Once again, I got nothing but love and admiration for lefty boomers. I got to say that first. But I'm not gonna hold back about the failures of this generation. They fucked us up with the climate crisis. They were complicit with building the police state. They dragged their generation, their fathers, their ancestors fought for labor rights, and they just threw it away. They threw it away. Mm-hmm. We had labor. There was a lot of problems. But anyway, sorry, I'm ranting. Anyone else got anything to go?
Nick,
but anyway, the silent generation gave them a lot of protections, and then they just fucked it up. And I think I'm allowed to be upset about that. And you guys was the resistance, and I respect that. But sorry, Corny, Keisha, anything to add?
Just to your point, Nick, an observation. The boomers that were actually fighting. I mean, of course, there are leftist boomers, and I hate this generational conversation. It really it's a very American thing, actually.
Yeah, it is very. I mean,
yeah, like everything for y'all is a division. The generation, the race, the color, the ethnicity, the neighborhood, the city, the town, the state. Oh, guys, let's unite. Anyways, that said, the boomers that were in the fight, the majority of the boomers that were fighting, they died. And the other ones that were like trying to build a way or escaped, like John Kemper here, or are numbed by all the things that were thrown towards our people so they could be quiet. We have that happening. Jay-Z is not a boomer, but he is there, very rich man, but no balls.
Yeah, and I want to address the super chat for John. Thank you again. And once again, I do appreciate the dialogue, 100%. And I 100% acknowledge this comment too. Some of us tried our best. Some boomers suck, and that's why I still have nothing but love and admiration for people who are lefty and who are boomers who stay in this fight and did not sell out.
Right, and I would say even boomers who, I guess to me, it's you don't have to have been a lefty boomer, been a boomer your whole life, or been a leftist your whole life. But I think to me, it's more about just self-awareness and realizing, oh, I was part of this system at this time, and maybe I could have done more, or maybe I could have gone to a protest, maybe I could have talked to my, white friend at work, or whatever you could have done. But I think it's just more about self-awareness, and then not getting in the way of people who are now trying to fix everything that is wrong.
Yeah, that's the big point. It really frustrated, I think, us when Bernie was running, is our parents would agree with a lot of the policies, but they wouldn't listen to us. And at some point, when do they take a step back and they go, you know what, maybe I should listen to you and just vote for who you say?
We're living,
because you think that's your future. That's what really just.
That's a good point. That's such a good point, because we would tell them our problem. They were like, "Oh, just fucking suck it up."
Right. You're not trying hard enough. You're not doing this enough. You're not doing that enough. We did all the things.
We told our dad about how there were no credit scores when he was coming up, but there are for us now. We're like, there are just things that are different. Can you acknowledge that?
Your parents and your grandparents were revolutionaries who fought for your rights. That's who your parents and grandparents was, the black boomers. Yeah. And then you said "fuck you" to us, and you wonder why we upset. And by the way, and this is something that people don't talk about a lot, but we are Fred Hampton Leftists. We represent the ideals of Fred Hampton, but there's not a lot. And people wonder why I must have black boomers. Do you guys know how many former Black Panthers turned to shit libs? Once again, this is something that people don't talk about, but this actually happened. And I remember Kamala Harris, their campaign was flowing the endorsement. They're like, we got an endorsement of former Black Panthers. I'm like, so you got endorsement of people who sold out.
Right. That's the thing that I can't understand. When people look to some of our older leaders and activists, guess what? Sometimes they might be wrong now. I just don't understand. You know, like a lot of older Black leaders were saying, vote for Biden, don't demand anything. We must beat Trump. And I was like, that's absolutely wrong. We must demand something.
Right.
And a lot of people were like, well, you know, Angela Davis, you know, we got to listen to her. And I was like, but you have to understand, yes, she's still, her heart might be still in the same place, but there's a right nowness, you know, there's an urgency with us that right now we're in it, we're living it. We're the generations that are getting so screwed financially, climate wise, all of that. So she doesn't have that sense of urgency. So as much as I can respect her, I have to say you're wrong, because you got to listen to us now. We're the activists now. You know what I'm saying? It's in that we don't get that respect.
So regarding your question about what do we do with the boomers? One of the things that I want to bring out is that, yes, like Nick said, there was a lot of leftist boomers that came up. And in fact, our network is named after a leftist boomer. So we acknowledge all the struggle and all the fight that older boomers have had to, you know, deal with, because they have had to deal not just with what we're going through, but they had to deal with a little bit more, because they had to go through the civil rights era. They had to actually make this shit legal. They had to legalize, you know, segregation, and desegregation. They had to legalize, these voting rights laws and things like that. So, you know, my hat off to them. Unfortunately, for some boomers, especially Black boomers, who fell away from that, the capitalist class basically beat them into submission over the years. And that beating into submission was brainwashing through very talented means, through very brilliant means, and they did that. What do we do about them? Like Nick, Josana, Courtney, and Keisha said, we have to, with respect and dignity, speak to them in a way that appeals to, I hate to use this phrase because Obama uses it, but he uses it so horribly. But you have to appeal to people's better angels and put it in such a way where it's like, this is what you fought for. We're fighting for this now. The fight is not lost. Unfortunately, I'm going to also have to reflect some of what Colin said. What do? Sometimes we just have to wait for them to go. Have to wait till nature takes its course. Because here's the thing, some of them are not going to listen, because some of them are very set in their ways. And we have to be honest with that. And I know that's very harsh, but at the same time, is Joe Biden going to change? Because Joe Biden's a boomer. Is he going to change? No. You have to let nature take its course. Or is people like Nancy Pelosi going to change? No. You must let nature take its course. And so the thing is that with some people, you're not going to get through. We do the best we can, and then we have to get to a point where we force the change, not ask for the change. And the thing is that a lot of the government is being ran by who? Boomers. And the thing is that we're no longer asking. And this is one of the reasons why they killed one of the most prominent boomers, Fred Hampton, because he was reflecting the things and he taught us. And this is one of the things I appreciate about our older lefty boomers. They taught us so much, and now we are acting on what they taught us. And some of them that are still lefties today, they're sitting there proud of us, and they're still using their wisdom to guide us. So thank you to the lefty boomers, but to the boomers who won't change,
we love Dr. Cornel West out here.
Yep.
He's a boomer, isn't he? He's a boomer.
I think he might be late Gen X.
I'm not good with the generation.
I'm so bad with it.
Like, y'all confuse me with y'all don't generation, to be honest. I'm like, I just know I'm a younger millennial, but that's all I know. Anything else, like, y'all confuse me. I don't know where Gen X begins, Boomer ends. I know Boomer somewhere in the 60s, right? That's the only thing I really know.
I'm Gen X,
So anyway, I want to move on because I want to talk about this as well. I'm sorry. I think I feel like I have the right to do this. I feel like I have the right to say I told you so. What else can I do? What else can I do when I say stuff that I think is common sense? And then people will think I'm unreasonable when I say stuff like, yo, that Georgia Senate race, if you think that's going to actually lead to progressive change, you out of your damn mind. It's not going to happen. I said that, and people that I was being like, oh, you're just too negative. All we got to do is vote for the Georgia Senate. Remember that? Remember Ossoff and Warnock? He was running
$2,000
out the door immediately.
Public option, $15 minimum wage. Remember that? They said, yo, all we gotta do is win the Georgia Senate race and we get these things. And I'm like, bro, I am tired of you guys, especially the progressives, selling me electoral politics, especially Democrats. And me and Josana, we talk about this all the time. We are tired of people. I said that, and people was like, oh my God, social man, he's a secret right winger. He just wants us to fail. How did that go? So why am I bringing this up? You guys know what's been in the news recently. I just wrote an op-ed about this. Every single fucking promise this guy made, he lied on. That's the longer version. But this is I want to read this from Eleanor, and I'm gonna get your guys' takes before I move on to more details. He said Senate Democrats had decided to drop paid family and medical leave, a key cornerstone of Joe Biden's presidential campaign. Stop this propaganda. From their mammoth social... Stop that. What are you doing? Politico. See, look, she's from Politico. I knew it. By the way, we're going to go over the numbers. You guys understand, I always said this bill was a joke from day one. Because this was over a 10-year period.
Mm-hmm. Right.
How many people in politics are deeply unserious? And people got mad at me. I'm like, bro, do you want to fight the climate crisis or not? You have fucking Bernie Sanders, AOC, and the progressives like, yo, this is the climate plan. Meanwhile, they increased the Pentagon budget, the largest polluter in human history. You see how they're unserious? But sorry, go ahead.
How did the Democrats end up giving us the corporate tax rate that Trump wanted? I'm literally perplexed.
Who proposed that? I mean, they were in a room by themselves and they came to that number.
How do people make excuses for this? What? Also, it's like history repeating itself. Like, you gotta learn. Like, you always say it's like a bad ex-boyfriend. Like, he's just trying to like call you back. Like, Obama cemented the Bush tax cuts. Biden seems to be, in all ways, shape, and form, cementing the Trump tax cuts, but also making them lower. Like, how are we gonna, what?
Crazy.
And people are championing this. I don't understand it. It's a bunch of bullshit.
I want y'all to take a look at this.
Yeah.
Take a look at that. No, go ahead. Read. Suss it out. Go ahead. I'll wait.
It said Pelosi. I didn't see this yet. Actually, I didn't see this. So this is the first time I'm seeing this. Let me take this. Let me take this comment real quick. It said new. Pelosi told her members, "Don't embarrass the president by voting down the infrastructure bill as he flies overseas." She also said she will put the infrastructure bill on the floor today and hold the vote open to get the bill through. Don't embarrass.
What does that sound like? Don't that sound like your mama going, yes. Don't y'all embarrass me now. Mm-hmm. Don't y'all embarrass me like she's their mother? Mama.
100%. Sure.
Sounds like you're a boy, like your mafia boss. That's what it sounds like.
Don't you embarrass me.
That was a mama. That's the mama that's putting you down on your knees in jail every day.
She's their mafia mama.
Is that true? I'm sorry, it's a fact. No hablo inglés.
Love it. It sounds like she's trying to give him the shakedown.
Oh, she's always trying to give.
So I guess she did make AOC cry then when she was on the floor. I wonder what she said to her. She's like, oh, she's like, oh. She's always like drunk and like has a hard candy in her mouth. I don't know why, but I also thought that she never brought votes to the floor if they didn't have the votes. I thought that was her policy. So that's
Ooh.
weird. And she's going against that.
She's really switched it up.
Yeah, that don't embarrass me.
The thing about that is, like, as Nick said, like, voters know, because like here, you're not obliged to vote. So you have to get interested in that subject and then you go vote. So you know what you're doing when you vote for those people. Like, you even know who you're voting for when you vote for somebody that goes in national television and says, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black.
And still,
a white man saying that, and he was not burned.
He was he was praised. I mean, I don't know.
Since Josana brought it up, because I actually since Josana brought it up, I feel compelled because I actually had this in the backlog of stuff I was gonna cover on here. But we were talking about our Black leaders, right? Right? You guys want to see this video? This resurfaced, and I remember when this was going on at the time. Our Black leaders actually was on call with Joe Biden, and he was a fucking asshole. So this is my tweet. I said our Black leaders are so embarrassing. Still unbelievable they endorsed and voted for Jim Crow Joe after this unhinged racist rant. And y'all wonder why the Democratic Party refused to do anything for Black people. They have these Black liberals, well-trained, the Jim Clyburns and their supporters, which, once again, if you just break down demographically, are Black boomers. Well, I'm not even making it about. I'm saying if you look at the numbers, that's who it was. That's who these are people are supported by. But watch this. This only 26 seconds. The Black community heard this. They still voted for Joe Biden. About half, under half, about 40%. About 35, 40%. Still embarrassing. Watch this.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do. This country is doomed.
People who voted for him.
This guy is so racist.
I forgot. I forgot
how bad that was.
Yeah, I was like, I forgot.
Let me add, and then I'll pass it to the panel. This clip just refloated, but I remember when this came out. There was people that were saying, "Oh, well, this is edited out of context." No, guys, if you watch the full video, it's worse. Yeah. Because if you watch this clip, this clip make it seem like he just said this one bad thing. No, this was his energy the entire call. This was his energy. The black leaders was asking him for some milquetoast shit. And he was like, fuck you. You didn't vote me anyway.
I've done the most for Black people.
Banks, I'm gonna ask Courtney and Keisha to chime in, then Josana can go after them. Anything you guys want to add?
How could people listen to that? And his voice just sounds racist. It's just the way he talks.
So angry. Why is he so angry?
It reminds me of that Vouch guy. Just the way he talks is just like it's race. It just comes off as race. You can hear the undertone in there. And then when he says 2040, there's something. Isn't demon in there. And how could they not see that? They go to Black churches. I don't rebuke. Yeah, I don't understand it. Okay, that's all I have to say. It was very clear. He's an evil person.
It's taking it's licking the divide and conquer theory from bottom up and using it because Hispanic, what the heck is that? Because that was used against me many, many times here for right? Of course, I'm Latina, I'm not Black. I'm blah, 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 I'm not Black. Mm-hmm. And ethnicity is not a race. But he uses it in a way to divide right there, right. With all the Black leaders, he's right there. You guys gonna have to work with the Hispanics. So for now, let's unite Black and whites. Get rid of them Hispanics.
Yeah.
And I watch that and I see those things. I'm like, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I'm not. I'm not seeing this. Like, is everybody seeing that too? Because like, how?
They act like we crazy for when I say there's no way I'm voting for that racist motherfucker. They was like, you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What? Do you hear that? Do you see the video that I just played you?
That hate lives deep in there. I don't care how flowery or nice his language is. He's been that person since he got in the 70s and was pushing for segregation and pushing all the drug bills that he did and pushing the death penalty for drugs. And that's always been him.
I also feel like it had this weird undertone of we haven't been doing anything up until this point. Like, you guys are going to have to get to work and start working with the Hispanics. Like, what have we been doing all this time? We haven't been working? Who's been working? It's weird. I don't know. I mean, there was just a lot of layers to that.
There's so many layers. I can break that video down in like an hour. There's so many layers. But James, it seems like you've been waiting to chime in on this motherfucker after that.
I know. Ku Klux Karen ain't talking his shit. And he wants to talk about, oh, you guys need to work together with the Hispanics and we're going to be the minority. Yeah, goddamn right you're going to be in the minority. And number one, you better know what's right, because if you guys want us to have equality and not revenge, you guys better start treating us right. Number one. Number two, second of all, the way you take up the tone with them, are you their manager? Are you their boss? Are you their father? Like, who are you? Right? You know what? And you're talking to people who literally voted for you, who literally put you there. Third of all, we have been fighting for decades, but people like you have actually been fighting against us to keep us from getting where we want to go. So if anything, you should be taking up that goddamn tone with yourself, because you were the ones who was putting up that obstacle between us. It was you. It was your policies. And it was your crime bill that arrested people like my uncle, that arrested people, that arrested a whole bunch of black boomers. It was people like you who made it so that they put crack in our neighborhoods. And you use that crack, the money from the sales, to pay for foreign wars and to decimate the global south and places like where Josana is from, Brazil. So I don't want to hear no BS from people like Joe Biden who want to talk about, oh, you guys have to come together and do. No. You need to do your shit. But here's the thing, he's not. And this is one of the reasons why, if I could pray to Mother Nature, that's all.
But man, JV on fire today, man. But I'm thinking like, what should I break that video down or should I move on? Because like, I could go all day on that video.
Can I just ask Jay, did you have an uncle who was on crack who was in jail?
I had an uncle that had a drug addiction. He got arrested and put into prison, and he died in prison. He was clean. He died.
Our uncle was
9 years ago.
Yeah.
15 years. 15 years in the Jersey State Penitentiary, and he died. Mm-hmm. And so when people talk about, when people talk about, oh, well, Joe Biden, wrote the crime bill, and then they'll try to scapegoat like the Congressional Black Caucus, they voted for it too. I don't give a shit if they did. They were sellouts too. I'll call them all out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, Jim Clyburn. Yes, Maxine Waters. Yes, Barbara Lee. Yes, every single one of them. Yeah, I don't care. Sheila Jackson Lee. I'll call her out too. I don't care. Because guess what? The reason why we have the shit that we have is because they voted for it.
I just want to. This is a drawing that my uncle did, and he was always in and out of prison and addicted to crack. And he went to war for this country.
So did mine. So did mine.
Yeah. And the amount of talent that Joe Biden has taken from our communities, the families he's broken, and then you have people going into stereotypes about broken Black families. Well, why are they that way? It's just like nobody uses any context or nuance when they're talking about our situation. And the beauty that is taken. This was freehand in jail. I wasn't there.
He hadn't seen her in a long time.
In a long time, he hadn't seen me. This is why he's doing that to our communities. And people don't see the really what is being lost. And it's just, I can never support that man. I'm sorry. I hate him.
Yeah,
I do. And he has been a predatory on the Black community, from the bankruptcy bill to desegregating busing to, what you want to name it, death penalty for drugs, whatever it is. Yeah.
And I just want to add that I believe that Reed.
What was that, Josana?
Sorry, I cut your Courtney. Sorry, finish.
No, that's all.
I just want to say that also I believe Tara Reid, he's a rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's
from her in a while.
I think it's 100% healthy to hate your oppressors, and I don't care what people say. Joe Biden has done untold amount of devastation to the Black community because of his policies. And the point that you guys brought up that was amazing was something I've been preaching about, the myth of the absent Black father, right? Where, once again, like you said, people don't use their common sense to understand why the Black community is in the position that we are in right now. Because I can speak from experience. I mean, my parents would have loved to have been there, but my dad working 2 jobs, my mom working 2 jobs. You know what I mean? This is kind of stuff that people get caught up in the system on some bullshit, on some nonviolent crimes. I know people I know a lot of people that went to jail. None of them went to jail for a violent crime. Now I know, but that's what they do. And then you have people who are culture warriors, right? They lean culturally to the right, and they always say, "Oh, well, you guys say you should have reparations, but slavery was 150 years ago."
Wow,
bro, we are owed reparations not only for slavery, but what is continuing to happen to us and the effects of that. So when our community is lynched in mass, like it was in after slavery in the Jim Crow, we were lynched, and the reason why they was able to coordinate lynchings because these white militias worked with the fascist police state. The police gave them information, they gave them addresses, and they covered for them legally. So people don't talk about that when you learn in school. I learned that later. I'm like, what? Bro, lynchings was state-funded and state-operated procedures. And you want to tell me that we not owe reparations? Imagine the generational wealth that has been lost because we lose family members out of nowhere like that.
Right.
Because
Can I add?
Go ahead, James.
I'm gonna add to your point, bro. Also, we deserve reparations for all the Black people, especially Black men that have been put incarcerated in prison over non-violent crimes. We also are owed reparations for that. Even the ones that are in prison today, we are owed reparations for all that, including, I'm also going to add one more thing. Also, for not being included in the New Deal, we are owed reparations for that too, because we were never included in that.
Wow.
Can I have a hot take?
Go ahead,
with
please.
my cat tail on my face. I think yes, Black people in America are owed reparations. Black people in every single country of the continent, North, Central, South. But I do believe, I just want to say that I don't want reparations to be making of us what made of Black celebrities.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I do not want reparations to be
that's
like a check in the mail. So because they did that to the people before us, and they failed us, and now we're here. No. No, I mean, I won't get any freaking checks from the government. But like, I do not that to be this to Black people in America.
The true leftist reparations position is more than just cash payments. I mean, we need complete, so as far as I'm concerned, you guys need to cancel medical debt. You guys need to do, there's so many things that you guys got to do. And my position is international. I'm very consistent on this issue. We are owed the world as African descendants of slaves. But I believe that Palestinians should be paid reparations. I believe that the global South should be paid reparations because we destabilized the global South through Operation Condor, and through our operation. So I think all white supremacist state owes a lot. We are just one of many, and it got to be done in a smart way. Once again, if you can just give random cash payment without looking at the structural systems that we can get done with reparations, once again, you got to have landlords just raise the rent. You're gonna have your check just go right to big pharma because once again, we hold the most medical debt. So if we hold the most medical debt and you just give people cash without actually dealing with healthcare, you're just paying big pharma.
Right? They can't.
You know what I mean? So we got the leftist position to be smart about this. But once again, there are a lot of black liberals that Josiah is talking about. Well, they would say they support reparations, but they'll support the prison state. Like they'll support giant police funding. They'll support the military. They would be against Medicare for all. They're like, we should have reparations. And then they were like, bro, what is wrong with you? So that once again, that's my leftist position on reparations. And it's something that got to be talked about, but it got to be done in the right way, where it's not just hush money. You know what I mean? It got to be done in a structural way. But anyway, anything else? I want to move on this story. Anyone got to round this conversation up?
Okay.
You good?
I'll end it on a sad note, so then we can move on to a happier note. I watched this thing, John Oliver the other night, and he said that if for Black Americans to catch up with white Americans in wealth, it would take like 200 years or something without any sort of like government interaction. Like, so I don't know how old you guys are planning to be, but I mean, I might make it to 60 maybe. I mean, considering climate change and all, but I don't think I would make it 200 years. So
yeah, I always say I'd be surprised if I live past 50, but that's depressing. But anyway, I want to give a shout out to some good comments that I saw in the chat. I saw some people mention Haitians. Yeah, once again, Haiti. Yeah, I'm down. Yeah. Haiti, Cuba. Well, Cuba had lost billions and billions of dollars because of the embargo. And I don't know how anyone on the left could be against the approach I have. I think if you're a victim of white supremacy, I don't want to sound like I strongly believe that African descendants of slavery deserve reparations. But I would be a hypocrite if I believe the other people who are victims of white supremacy don't deserve it. And that's my international approach. That's the Rainbow Coalition we're trying to build. That's the international leftist coalition we're trying to build because we are owed the world, period. And there's some people, and these are the ADOS people who I strongly disagree with. They will have this position where they only care about Black Americans, where they are strongly anti-immigrant. Once again, the immigrants are Haitian. A lot of immigrants are Black. So how can you say you're pro-Black if you're against the Black people that are against outside of our borders? You're not. You're a fraud. So that's always, there's a lot of ADOS people who don't like me. That's okay because that's my position. That is what Fred Hampton believes. They still in solidarity with Palestinians. They still in solidarity with the North Koreans. They were very international, and I am a Fred Hampton leftist. And if you're ADOS and you don't care about other people in other cultures and other societies, you're not. And it's just simple as that. So anything else? I do gotta move on, man. You guys left some good comments, but Haiti, Cuba. You guys go on and on, man. There's so many people. There's so many people we fucking owe shit to.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll move on because we were talking about. Josiah, I know you had something to share. Let me share this because this is kind of the breakdown. I guess we can go back to the Biden infrastructure bill. Yeah, let's do that. Let me get my link back up. So, this point I want to make before I pass to the panel. Because one thing that tweet I showed you earlier did not cover, because we know they dropped paid family leave in the infrastructure package. They even say they're not even going to spend Medicare. So, but one thing caught my eye in particular, and this is a point as a leftist I have to make. I have to make this. This is the Democratic Party agreeing with trickle-down economics ideologically-wise. Because once again, like the Bank sisters mentioned, the tax, they're not even to increase taxes on the rich now. And this is something that Joe Biden agreed with Mitch McConnell. You guys know that when he was vice president, Barack Obama put put Joe Biden in charge of negotiating with Mitch McConnell on economic policy and through the stimulus. And you know how they got the Bush tax cuts permanent? They did that because Joe Biden said, he gave a press conference. I covered this on my show. I'm gonna see if I can find the source. I covered this on my show. He gave a press conference like, yo, this is something we agree on. We agree that taxes for the rich stimulate the economy. So these people, constantly tell you guys who they are. So I don't understand the confusion. This is why you got to cover everything in politics in terms of the class war. So I'm gonna share this one last thing here, and then I'll pass it to you guys, and then we move on to the next story.
Thanks for the super chat.
The senior administration officials laid out the framework of a 1.75 trillion social spending package. Once again, over 10 years. Over 10 years, guys. You know, this is a privatization bill now at this point.
For the time frame?
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
This is not like the climate proposal is a joke. But pretty much the progressives, everything that they promised us to get, we're not getting. And they want to blame Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. That's the classic rotating villain that they're pulling off. And the people who think that, all we gotta do is vote Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema out, they will say this. They will acknowledge, and this has been reported by liberal media. They say, oh, well, Kristen Sinema, she was bought off by big oil and Wall Street. Kristen Sinema, she even tweeted out support of a minimum wage increase in 2014. They were like, oh, look at all this money that Joe Manchin is getting paid off by big oil and Wall Street. Okay. So if you acknowledge that these people are getting paid off by these giant corporations, that you're doing nothing to stop funneling money into the system, even if you got rid of Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, my question is to you, is what is stopping them from just buying off someone else? They can just buy off the next blue dog Democrat, and all of a sudden, they go from tweeting about a minimum wage like Kristen Sinema did, and all of a sudden they get money, and now they're going to impose your agenda. This same thing we see with Joe Lieberman and Heidi Heitkamp. Do you guys remember that? I'm 30. I remember these people. I remember Claire McCaskill. She was my senator. Do you guys remember? All we got to do is vote harder. If we get rid of Claire McCaskill, we get rid of Heidi Heitkamp, they'd be better. How'd that go? The rotating villain.
Right.
Rotating villain. I'll go with James first, then we go Courtney and Keisha, and then Josana.
Yeah.
We got super chat too, I think, as well. So if you want to, you can.
Yeah.
Don't call my other floors.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to. You beat me to it, but I was going to this. So for people who do not know what a rotating villain is, I'll read it to you. It says, in American democracy, when the majority people has had enough votes to pass a populist legislation, party leaders designate a scapegoat who refuse to vote with the party, thereby killing the legislation. The opposition is otherwise inexplicable and typically comes from someone who is safe or not up for re-election. This allows for maximum diffusion of responsibility. That is what a rotating villain is. That is who people like Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin are. And this is their tactic to use. Thanks for the super chat. Love and mercy to you as well. Thank you so much. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are talking about, the Democrats are fumbling. They're failing. No, they are not. This is what the Democrats look like when they win. The reason why I say that is because their goal is to make sure it fails. Why? Because they're using the rotating villain. If they didn't want it to fail, they wouldn't have used the scapegoat. But they are, so that it fails. And once it fails, then guess what? Then they can have the Republicans come back into power, and then they can fundraise off the boogeyman, because the DNC is a business. And in order for that business to make money, they have to have donations. They have to. And so for that donation to happen, they have to basically squeeze the money out of people through fear. Oh, you guys want us to get in power back again? You guys better donate to us. If not, then we're not going to be able to stop the Republicans. This is what they do. So they're not trying to win. They're already in the camp of the GOP. They're all together. So guess what? Stop falling for it. People think, oh, well, all we got to do is put in more progressives. And then what? They're going to turn them around the same way. And then the next thing you know, they're going to keep going. It's basically a factory. Oh, we need more progressives. Then they turn around. Then they do what the rest of them are doing. And then they continue that fundraising bullshit. And so then this continues to happen over and over and over. And so the people actually listen. And we've been saying it for a while now. Listen, they're not here for you. They're here for themselves. And they're just trying to squeeze the money out of you.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how none of that money has gotten to a good primary contender for Manchin. Or, I mean, and if I hear one more Democrat say, like, you can't primary Manchin from the left, like people in West Virginia don't want health care, you know, or
Better
clean
jobs
water, radical ideas. But the rotating villain thing is so interesting. And my mom is going to be mad, but there are a lot of, I just feel like also older Black people who want to, like, we can put blame on everybody at the same time. This is Nancy Pelosi's fault. This is Joe Biden's fault. This is Chuck Schumer's fault. This is Joe Manchin's fault. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, they're all there because the Republicans would never be in this position. They are on one accord. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the agenda. That's what we're doing. We're going to fall in line. They would never be falling apart like this and infighting. I mean, if they're definitely going to lose the primary or the midterms, because I mean, they can't even make a negotiation with themselves. Biden was supposed to be able to make negotiations with Joe Manchin. I mean, right. What's his name? Mitch McConnell, the turtle guy.
Yeah.
So, like, what's going on here? And it doesn't help that Joe Biden also has done things like appointing Joe Manchin's wife to a commission in West Virginia, a commission that stands to get $1 billion in the infrastructure bill. Okay. And that is a good, listen, it's for Appalachia, right? Appalachia. They need that money. But do I trust that Joe Manchin's wife is going to make sure that they get that money when they own the whole state and the daughter up the price of EpiPens? No, I don't actually. So, you know, Joe Biden appointed her to the position right after Joe Manchin voted down $15 minimum wage. So I just don't know how much more evidence people need to see that, as JB is saying, it's the same team. They're doing a dance. They are simpatico. You know, it's constantly happening. And how many times do you have to see it where they just lie right in your face? It's not Manchin and it's not just Sinema. It's all of them.
I just feel like the problem to me, observing and researching America, is very interesting. It's sad and gets me crazy all the time. The problem is one party system. You only have one party. And add to that cake dough, you add no corruption laws. What is the problem, class? Corruption. They all freaking corrupt politicians. They are making money out of voting down. So Manchin is like, I'm going to put myself in the line. I get a bigger cut of the money. And to put myself in the line, you're going to have to get my daughter the job, because I am putting myself in the line, and there's going to be poor people around my yachty on the weekend. Can somebody say that in a way more clear English and more?
Nah, I like it. I like it.
Because
that's perfect.
That was very clear.
That
was
That was perfect.
You're right. I mean, he's got to get something out of putting himself on the line.
How people are not in the streets?
I have my that every day.
They have corruption, anti-corruption laws. If a freaking politician gets in a helicopter with Jeff Bezos, they both go arrested. Because the reason why you hear how corrupt Brazil is because of anti-corruption laws. The reason why you know that Lula was arrested illegally is because of anti-corruption laws. There was investigation, there was no proof. Now he's out. Mm-hmm. And you get to hear about it because people are actually doing the job of fighting it. And of course, I do not believe politicians are heroes anywhere in the world, but at least you can take these steps. Here, like everything happens in our faces and it keeps on happening because there's no law preventing them to do so.
Correct.
Now compare that to the corporate prosecution of Stephen Donziger that happened here. Josana just explained what they have in Brazil. Now compare that to here, where you have Chevron. That he's going to prison, guys.
Yeah, he's already been locked up in his house.
He's been locked up in his house for 2 years, right? It's been 2 years, right?
2 years.
And then
2 years and 2 months.
Yeah.
Just to let you guys know, he was set to be in custody by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which was 2 hours ago. So he's already in prison.
Yeah, he's in prison right now as we speak. Now
We
compare
tried
that
to
to
call
what
AG Garland. What, I thought he was gonna. It seems like he's letting a lot of things go. I thought he was the Obama guy, right?
now compare that to what Josana just had going on in Brazil. Once again, it's not me praising Brazil, but my point is we have the moral high ground over nobody. And I want you guys to remember that. We are not the sophisticated society that we think we are. We're not.
Right.
We are the barbarians that you guys think the Russians are. We are the barbarians that you guys think the North Koreans are. We're the barbarians you guys think. We are the ones, and we're the U.S. empire. There's a reason why people rank us the no one threat to world peace. Now, I want to show you guys this one. This episode is flying by today. Because this relates. Because once again, the big thing that caught my eye. Because once again, I never, at no point, believed we was gonna get any of these things. That's why, if you guys watch Hampton Leftist, I didn't cover the reconciliation bill that often. Because what's the point? And people like, oh, why are you not praising the progressive for fighting? Why are you not praising? I remember people who told me that. Do you guys remember? I remember Jordan for Status Quo. People like digging his old tweet up where he was like, why no one giving credit for the progressive for saying they're gonna hold the line? That was $1 billion ago.
Nick,
No.
before.
Go ahead, Josana. What you want to add?
No, before you share what you're gonna share, I just want to bring another
Yes, go ahead.
point
Go ahead.
for thought. It's forbidden in my country to buy votes. People still do, but they get persecuted.
Yeah.
Joe Biden went on national TV and offered money for people to vote for that senator. Yes, and I forgot his name because I stuck with that. And he said, if we voted for him,
Ossoff and Warnock, I think.
Yeah, Ossoff, John Ossoff and Raphael
and
Warnock.
and then people would get $2,000. So he offered money for votes in national television, and he didn't pay.
He defrauded all those fools. Oh man,
That was straight bribery, and they.
I mean, no,
Straight-
he didn't get the
Bro,
money.
I remember there was people after, like a few months after the Biden administration, they was like, "Yo, I feel bad because I was canvassing and I was telling people in Georgia, if you all y'all do is vote for him, we give you $2,000." And the thing is, I don't know how these people sleep at night, man.
So
I don't
I'll
get
tell
it.
you this. We I'm part of we're part of a labor union in LA for hospitality workers, and they're super tight with Joe Biden, and they tried to hire us twice. One time to go to Arizona before the elections to get him elected, and then for this Warnock and Ossoff thing, they were like, "We'll pay you like $25 an hour. We'll pay your stipends. We'll do this. All you got to do is go to Georgia." And I mean, they were pushing hard to get boots on the ground to get that done. I mean, how much did it cost them to hire that many canvassers? They could have just given us that money.
But also, they were working with the union leaders, and the union leaders weren't getting any policy in return.
So
for people being on the ground. So it was like,
right.
I'm not gonna stump for him.
I would say for people who, because you know what, even in that thing, his little speech today, Joe Biden said something about the labor unions again today, like we're gonna get back to having unions and this and that. As much as he talks about unions, he uses unions. He uses them for their labor, and then he doesn't do anything for them.
Yep. And that's all that was.
That's what I've seen. I mean, on the ground. So
I don't see any direct policy for hospitality workers from that. So
Yeah, exactly.
Capitalism.
In a nutshell. And it's gonna get worse. I'm gonna show you guys. You guys don't believe me. It's gonna get worse. It's getting more cartoonish every day. So at Hampton Leftist, we cover everything in context of the class war.
yes.
We are in a pandemic and an economic collapse. And despite us being in a pandemic and an economic collapse, we have billionaires increase their wealth by the tune of the trillions. Meanwhile, the fake politician, theater, TV show will have you believe we can't end homelessness. They will have you believe that we can't afford Not even just a $15 minimum wage. You guys know how I feel about that. That's trash. Throw it away. We should be advocating for a thriving wage. And they will say, oh, we can't afford that. They can't afford that. Look, check this out. We can't even increase taxes on the rich. That was the Republicans, that was Joe Manchin. They said that's a no-go. And believe me, Joe Biden agrees with him because there's a reason why he's not putting pressure. If you think that the Democratic Party is like, they have no options. They are completely defenseless against Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, and the Republican Party. After how you saw they fought us, the way they fought the way they fight the left, and you see how they fight the right and Joe Manchin, they are 100% pulling their punch because Joe Biden don't want to increase the taxes on the rich. Like I said, despite the fact that they're not doing this, you had Elon Musk who broke the wealth record yesterday. Elon Musk is now worth more than Exxon Mobil. 2% of Elon Musk's wealth could solve world hunger.
Oh,
I was trying to find out. I think it was like 36 billion. Let me see if I can find
30,
that.
I think it was 36.
I think it was 36.
Yeah, I'm doing it on top of my head. I think it was 36. Let me find the receipt for that. But yeah, he broke the record and most money. Once again, to show you guys, again, I'm a Marxist-Leninist. Money's fake. These guys just sitting around, make $36 billion.
How many Tesla cars are there?
Not that
many. They're not actually creating the actual product of that, you know?
This system is so dumb. He makes this much money essentially just being a hype man.
Yep.
He hype his stocks.
He doesn't. What does he himself create? What does he? I mean, has he drawn a sketch of something? Like, I'm confused as to what his input is.
You guys see this? Musk paid $0 in federal income taxes in 2018. This is a class war, guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is a class war. And you have right wingers. They'll say stuff like, "Oh, Elon Musk, you guys saying he don't deserve his wealth? You guys are jealous. He deserves his wealth." We got Rome in the building.
He worked hard. What are you talking about, Nick? He worked so hard. He went to dig and find the iron and the metal to build them cars. He built with his hand, with his bare hand.
And his mom, the model, was like mining.
Hey, Josan, I know you're gonna like this comment. Josan, I know you're gonna like this one. Money is fake, and also Israel is not real. Yeah,
Yes,
that's basic.
Israel isn't real.
Money is bullshit, guys. but they was like, "Oh, Elon Musk, he earned his wealth, guys. He got billions of dollars in federal subsidies,
Right?
Corporate socialism. He get paid by the government. Our taxpayer money upheld his business until they started making profit. So he didn't earn shit. He didn't earn shit. What you guys thought? We got wrong.
Always tell these niggas what's good, y'all. Always tell these niggas your $1 million ideal ain't shit until a real nigga put his hands on it, till a laborer put his hands on it. So it's just that we all have those every day. We wake up with ways to get rich or ways to get famous or whatever the fuck it is. But until somebody else do that work for you that you can't do and talk the way that you can't talk and work the way that you can't work, that shit ain't getting done. And it's not gonna get done without people like us. And that's how you gotta feel, because that's what's real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Elon Musk, we gotta remember this dude didn't, he didn't lift himself up by the bootstraps or anything like that. This dude got his wealth through apartheid South Africa, all right, in emerald mines that his parents owned, all right. He inherited his wealth. This dude, I used to think that Elon Musk was like a software engineer or something because he's part of the PayPal mafia and he was part of that team. No, this dude is just a money guy. Like, he's just an exec. He's not an innovator. He's not a creator. This dude doesn't know how the fuck a Tesla car is actually made and manufactured. You can't put that dude in front of a bunch of scrap metal and see him put that shit together. Like, this dude doesn't know shit about what he's doing. All he is just a fucking a talking head. And that's the people. Look at who we elevate. He's a fucking moron. Like, look at who we elevate to the highest echelons of our economy. you know, or even our government, Donald Trump, you know, a fucking idiot, you know, even Joe Biden, fucking, you know, demented, like dementia, you know, falling asleep, can't fucking, you know, doesn't remember how he started the sentences that he's trying to finish. Like, the dude is a fucking fool. These are the people that reach the highest levels of our economic capitalist, you know, system. And so we just got to look at that and remind ourselves that it's not about being, you know, smart or hardworking that gets you ahead in this society. It's literally just, and I say this all the time, you know, your success under capitalism is simply a measure of your willingness to exploit other human beings. Period.
Preach, Kamali.
Okay, this is
And if you don't see the lack of balance, like for
Kamali,
a person in the world. Sorry, Nick, go.
No, Josana, go ahead. Go, Josana.
For a person in the world to be rich like Elon Musk, you have to have almost the entirety of a continent like Africa in starvation. Wake up!
Yep.
So once again, this is probably the Kamali show. He joined late, but last story made he about to some fire. And what Kamali said is so on point. If you think we live in a meritocracy, I'm gonna try to find it because I just now thought about this, right? Kamali is right when he called Elon Musk a fucking dumbass, guys. This dude is not smart. And he presented as like some sort of like Rick Sanchez. Like his fanboy presenting that he like some sort of Rick and Morty like character. He is a dumbass. Like he was just on Twitter and he was bringing up the debt. He was like, "Oh, we can't spend as much money because we got the United States debt." This is Elon Musk. He don't even understand the basics of MMT. Are you serious? Like he was literally talking about, "Oh my God, the debt crisis. Oh my God, we owe so much money, bro."
That's because he won't be able to get any more money. That's why he's
read a book, bro. He's supposed to be the smart. Read a book, MMT, Modern Monetary Theory. He don't even know the basis of that. He repeating the debt myth. And people present him as smart. Guys, you know how dumb? I hear the dude speak, and I'm like, this guy is probably smart.
Why what you're saying, go ahead. Nick, what you're saying right now is so important, and we all need to admit that it's. Listen, I thought he was a science guy. I was like, oh man, he must be smart. And then he went on Joe Rogan, and he was like, we got to dig a hole.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you? What are you doing? And then you realize, oh my God, this is growing up for me has been coming to the realization that rich kids are running everything. And that is really why everything is bullshit. They have no real life resources, reference points, anything. And that's why they're like, yeah, sure. What? I mean, he is an idiot. And Rick and Morty is a great one because you feel smart, but it's really actually dumb.
Yeah. And to Nick's point about, go ahead. Oh, just to Nick's point about, you know, money not being real. Like he went on Joe Rogan and smoked some weed, and the value of Tesla dropped by like $1 billion fucking dollars. Like this shit is not real.
Ghetto ass system. This system is ghetto as hell. What the fuck? This is a ghetto ass system. But to the bank sister point. This is just nepotism. People wonder why I never had Trump derangement syndrome. People were like, "Oh, Trump, he's enriching his family." Hey, you know who that reminds me of? Joe Biden. He's famously enriched his entire family. By the way, Joe Manchin, he's a rotating villain right now. Joe Manchin is a result of nepotism. His father was in public service. His father was a politician. Now he's a politician. William Lancey Clay, the guy from St. Louis that Cory Bush defeated, he was the result of a political dynasty. This country is not a meritocracy. You're being raised by rich kids. I love that point.
Yeah, and they're idiots.
Yeah, when you don't have experience, when you haven't waited at a table, you haven't worked a real job, you have no concept of how much milk costs at the grocery store,
or getting a parking ticket. Like I got 2 parking tickets during the pandemic when they said to shelter in place. I was like, like, how does that make sense? You know, there's just no real world practice from these people, and that's why I mean the shit is fucked up. And I mean they're so rich they don't have to think about what we do, you know, at all.
It's like I always say, they're not the smartest person in the room, they're the greediest person in the room. And so as once we start to accept that some of us are actually smarter than a lot of these billionaires, then you realize it's more about sociopathic tendencies than it is about economic or work prowess that they claim that they have. They don't have it.
Yes.
They just learn how to bamboozle you better. That's basically all it is.
That's what I was trying to connect with. That level of celebrity is there's that sellout point. Like the greed is there. It doesn't matter who I have to undercut or whatever. I'm gonna get mine, and I'll sell out at any point. And
I was just about to say something about celebrities. This is why they send black celebrities out to say something about, police or shit that they haven't spoke up against or about in generations. But once it's a hot topic amongst the black community and it's really taking off and it's making sense to us, they send these people out here, do the same thing these politicians doing.
Yeah, this is
ever
why
since Muhammad Ali is just shut up and dribble.
Yeah, this is why we started for Hampton Leftist. This entire theme of this conversation right here. Once you realize they're not meritocracy, this is something I realized. Once you realize it's not meritocracy, and once you start reading, you start learning, as I was doing in my 20s, and I started following politics. I was watching MSNBC. My grandpa used to have it all in the background all the time. And then that's when I really became a political nerd. I'll listen to the speeches of like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and then there was a point where I was like, these people are fucking dumbasses. that was the point. Because I didn't follow politics that close when I was a teenager. So when you was a teen, I just grew up like, oh, these people must be brilliant. Like they must be. That has to be. They have to be smart. They're not, guys. These people are the product of nepotism and privilege, and that's why we have a channel. That's why I can debunk all these people you see on CNN and MSNBC. If I have a foreign policy conversation with the neocons on CNN and MSNBC, I will run circles around them. But they all got elite academia backgrounds. I'm a college dropout, but I promise you, I can tell you more about the history of the CIA. I could expose them in their Zionist thinking if we had a conversation. But they are the elites. They're the elite of the elites. The CNN and MSNBC, they're the elite of the elites. So I tell people we need to be citizen journalists. We need to have our own media infrastructure outside of that shit. That's why I got the Bank Sisters on today. That's why we promote as many independent channels as possible, because we are better journalists than these people. The fact that if you're someone, and this is why I hate the elitism. There are a lot of people that say, oh, I don't like podcasts. Podcasts don't do it. This is the elitism, because they only believe that only certain people can tell a story. I legitimately believe if you have anyone who's listening, any sort of platform, and you share a story, you are inherently a citizen journalist. They're inherently valuing what you have to share. And this is how we start a left movement. So this is why we got in the game, because we got to start this foundation. We got to start having our own flow of information to counter theirs flow of information. And we can do so because we're smarter than them. They're dumb. They're dumb. We debunk them all the time. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's why I encourage. Go ahead, James.
No, and we're cuter.
That's,
Yes.
that's why I'm always so confused. Why, so when we had to travel across the country to move back home with our parents, that's where we are now. And when we were driving, it's all conservative stations, everywhere you go, or a Christian station that will then turn into a conservative station. And they don't have this. They let people talk to people. They just let people talk and say things and be wrong. And I feel like Democrats have that level of civility or academia that they put in on our side makes people a little hesitant to get in the conversation. When what Nick is saying is we know better. We're living it. We know the points. I mean, I look at everything like gossip when I'm looking at people's live stories or whatever. But however you have to make it interesting to you. But now we've got the internet. We can have these dialogues with each other. And I mean, just like that, when they were going against Joe Rogan about ivermectin and everything, he said, you guys are idiots. I have a way bigger audience than you fools. And now you made yourself look stupid. And they're underestimating that. And I think we've got to come together, and we're making way better stuff than the stuff that they have.
And so somebody put up in one of the comments, they said that rich people have better class solidarity than us. And I feel like that is a point we have to keep driving home. If you are working, you're working class. I'm sorry.
Because y'all keep y'all love to fight us over the crumbs. Y'all love to fight us over the crumbs. Either is, better wages or this and that, or stopping certain governments in our fucking neighborhoods, wherever it is. Y'all love fighting us over the crimes. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we can't
shit,
be doing that. We have to
you know
all
crab in the
down
bucket
here.
mentality. A lot of people still have that crab in the bucket mentality, no matter how far left they feel. Because the only reason why we even talk about some shit right now is because this crab in the bucket mentality that the left has on each other. And every time a motherfucker get up, they be like, "Well, I don't like podcasters," like Nick said. Like, what you mean? Where else you gonna get your information from?
Not from the news, because the news is owned by BlackRock,
Okay,
and they're telling you all the same things. So don't get it there.
Like, yeah, I see if you was I see if you was out there, like, you know what I'm saying, putting this shit out there your own self and stuff like that, and had your own news organization, but to just shit on everybody else that's that's just putting the truth out there, that's just crazy.
I remember we used to talk about it all the time, Rome. That's why we started Friends of the Leftists, because what Keisha's point is perfect. Like, the rich, they have class consciousness, but we don't. So me and Rome, we were straight honest, like, bro, we want to start this network because we need proletariat propaganda, and there's a lot of people who are kind of detached from the reality of politics, where they were like, oh, I'm gonna call it balls and stripes. I'm gonna call it how it is. These are the people who make a lot of money. Like, these are kind of people like Kyle Kalinske, Crystal Ball. These people are millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
So they pride themselves on being neutral. They sound neutral. But when we get upset, I tell people all the time, I don't censor anyone on FHL. I don't want no apologies if you cuss. I want to see that emotion, because I don't even understand why people do, because they strip down emotion in the first place. So when you present the news, you don't get people fired up. So I don't know why progressive fall for that. But the reason why I'm like, I want people to be fired up. We need to have our propaganda, because we need proletariat propaganda. I am straight up honest. I am not calling it balls and stripes. I am not calling it honest. I am advocating for my community first and foremost. I advocate for my community first and foremost. I advocate for my allies and my brothers and sisters, my neighbors, first and foremost. And that's the intentions of this show. We need our proletariat propaganda. That's why me and Roland do this. We need class consciousness. But Kamali, I want to hear from you, brother. What's up?
Let me back up your point. Yeah,
Josana, you can go after Kamali. Kamali.
I'm going to make a quick. I'm just going to read a quick quote out of Cornel West's most recent book, Black Prophetic Fire. And just to go to Nick's point there about what he said about, when people getting angry on these, and us having to let that emotion, let that passion show. This is Cornel West talking about Malcolm X. All right. And he said, Malcolm would say over and over again, quote, "You are not going to get something detached and disinterested from anybody who is sitting on the stove and the stove is burning their behind. No, they're going to holler out. They are going to respond deeply and viscerally. He never forgot the black folk on the stove. He never forgot the prison system, black folk on the stove, massive unemployment, black folk on the stove, indecent housing, black folk on the stove, inadequate health care, black folk on the stove." Boom. You cannot expect something cold and detached from black folks, from poor folks, from marginalized folks. You cannot expect something, calm and collected and cool and neutral. It's not going to happen.
Man, Kamali, I'm glad you added that. But Josana, I want to bring you in. Josana, what was you about to say earlier?
I just wanted to say that there is a psychological view of it. Like, there is an author from India. He is a Kundalini yoga master, and he says, like, comfort and luxury are the worst drugs in society, because they get your brains in ways that you're not seeing. You're not doing something. You just, like, you want to get there because you're running in that never-ending hamster wheel, and you have the illusion, like the donkey with the carrot in front, that you're gonna get there in the carrot. And that's how they keep us. That's how they keep people from fighting. That's how they keep people from seeing, by drugging them with comfort and luxury. And it's all kinds of level. Like, you can see people killing themselves working so they can buy these $2,000 sneakers. You can see people killing themselves to work, die, and haven't paid the mortgage. And it's generation after generation, and history repeats itself. And we all like, no, but if I do this, I'll get there, and we never get there because it's made so we don't.
It's an illusion.
It has layers. It kills. It kills children from starvation. That's the layer one. Has many layers until it gets to the freaking working class that wants to be called middle class, that wants to have illusions of being rich. We all enslaved in a collective blue ball swirling around the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I feel like in America, especially, because of I feel like they've given us just enough material possessions here in this country to keep people complacent, and you get comfortable and you feel like, okay, I might lose my creature comforts, and that's why you see more revolutionary spirit in people that are pushed to the absolute brink. And it's sadly gonna take, I often feel like it's gonna take people being pushed to the absolute brink in this country before they get up and realize and realize that it can all be gone tomorrow, and so we just got to stand up. We got to start to fight back before it's too late, before we have absolutely no power left. We got to stand up, and we can't get too comfortable.
I want to go back on something Josana said, because like she's saying that this is all an illusion. Like, you are like, we've been so starved out, so dried out, that when we look up, we look at this and we see water, we see a solution, we see a better way of living. But I always ask these people, what is luxury? What does that word mean when your neighbors can starve? When you can go outside, go to your car and see somebody sleeping on your building? What does luxury mean? So, this life that you're fighting for, it might seem like, oh yeah, this is the high life and stuff like that, but it's not. It's not the high life, and this isn't the way life should be. This isn't the way life should be. So I feel like going back to saying, like, me and Nick tweets today, what I'm saying, we just gloating and rubbing shit in your face because we've been right about certain shit, but we still gonna get fucked up. We still gonna get fucked up. These bills gonna mess up our parents' lives. They're gonna mess with our lives, our kids' generations. But we can prepare for it. We know how to gather people together to at least fight against it in some way. I don't believe that, what I'm saying, whoever you naysayers is, I know it's gonna be a couple of naysayers to watch this motherfucker.
Yeah, me and Ron was having some fun today on Twitter because we was having fun because we was kind of I have to do it. Like, I have got so much shit for predicting everything that happened this year. Mm-hmm. Once again, I'm not exaggerating. Every single thing that they failed, they gave me shit for. So my coping mechanism for the reality that Ron just explained to you, because even though I am laughing at you guys, I am the victim of this. My family is the victim of this. The Democrats not spending Medicare, that is going to directly impact my family. These kind of things directly impact us. I see these things. I see what our government do, and I see how it directly impacts our family, like, immediately afterwards. So I laugh, and I make fun, and I say, I told you so, and I admit it. I do it as a coping mechanism. It's my way to cope. Laughing at the shit libs and telling you I was right by you screwing me over is how I cope with living in this failed state. And that's how I cope and living with the police state that you guys sold us out to. You guys sold us out to the police state when you guys vote for Joe Biden. I got you. You guys sold us
still
out.
Talking about January 6th, nigga.
Yeah, they're still talking about January 6th. But I want to get Courtney in there. We're going to wrap up, though, because we got Facts and Fire podcast that's coming on in about 30 minutes. But I always want to give everyone one last thing, chance to chime in. Because I'm going to start with Courtney because she had her hands up. So, Courtney, this is time to any last thoughts. Also, you can plug your YouTube channel, anything, but it can be about anything else. But I'll pass it forward to you and Keisha, and we get ready to wrap up here soon.
I was just going to touch on how hilariously terrible it is that Pete Buttigieg went on a 12-week paid family leave, and there is no leave in the bill.
Oh my
I forgot about
bill,
that.
and that's not homophobia. People want to, liberals keep trying to bring it to that. It has nothing to do with his sexuality at all. If you're a secretary of any department of transportation, you're not supposed to take any leave at all because your job is so important. The president has to okay it, and he let him go while all of this is happening with all of the ships causing an oil spill. The taxpayers then have to pay for. I mean, it's girl power.
This shit really goes back to, I can't even say it. You know, because it's gonna get me in trouble. Because I heard a lot of black females saying, like, you know, like this goes back to these motherfuckers using this way of making them themselves a minority. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, being oppressed in some type of way, which goes back to the Chappelle shit.
Well, that's what I was.
Right.
Yep.
I say
that was his point. I think that was his point.
Right.
We're focusing on this.
But you see what happens? You know, like, hold on, we're talking about, but it's just one person. But dog, that one person, that shit could have went too. But what?
Well, yeah,
Well, I think, and just to respond to Rome real quick, I think that class can elevate you above some of the marginalization. So, you know, when you're in that next class, you know, black people can do this. You know, black people have been historically oppressed. Gay people, trans people, you know, women have been historically oppressed. But when you get enough money, if you are one of the lucky ones, one of the good ones, then you can elevate yourself out of that kind of oppression. But they still want to hold on to the marginalization.
Okay. Hold up. Let me say this. As the gay guy on this panel,
hey, I'm paying, so
the fact that I'm glad people the judge was able to take 12 weeks. I'm glad. The thing I hate is that mothers and other fathers cannot do the same. That's what pisses us off. It's the fact that they can't do the same. And in fact, as I said on my show earlier today, I think that new parents, I'm including men and women, all new parents should get 24 months.
Hell yeah. They have that in other countries.
That's what I think. Because the thing is that if people are so into, family values, then apply to family values. Do it. I dare you.
Guys, you don't even have universal health care. Come on.
Yeah.
That by itself should have people killing. Sorry.
Thank you.
No habla inglés. No habla inglés.
I told you, I love having Josana because Josana and Rome carries that same fire that we need here. Make sure you guys check out the Bank Sisters. I added the description and I got their channel in there. Make sure you guys check them out. We're definitely gonna have them back on here again. There was a great conversation, but I'll pass it to I'll cut Josana off, so I'll go Josana and then Kamali next. So cause we gotta wrap up here very, very soon. Cause we gotta get cause Afeni got her show in like 30 minutes. So and I gotta eat before that. Cause I'm gonna be on Afeni show too. I'm gonna be on Afeni show too. So I'm doing double shift. So Josana, any last words, anything you wanna
we all watched Parasite thinking that it's happening in South Korea. No, baby. The person that brought up the people living under Las Vegas. Yes, Parasite is here. It's our reality. And I just wanted to say, please ask yourself more questions. It's not in this school that is filtering what you learn. Ask yourself more questions. Look for independent journalism and have your own conclusions. Please, it's on your face. It was a pleasure to be here with all of you today.
Wait, is the Finny at 7:30? I need to get my shit together. I'm supposed to be on the show. I'm supposed to know what time it is. But anyway,
I think it's 8:30.
All right, good. Because I need some time to get my shit together. Had to host the show today. Now I gotta jump on with Finny.
I'm sorry to just budge in, but I'm a big fan of, you know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan. I had to at least step in for a second and, you know what I'm saying, at least show some love. I'm feeling better, shit like that. So
yeah.
At least I'm glad to hear that, man. Always glad to hear that, brother.
Hell yeah. Kamali turn, right? Kamali, any last words?
I'll just use my time to just say, watch Facts and Fire with Afeni. She is a real fucking, she got some real revolutionary spirit. Love everything she does. So just check out. She had a great appearance on Misfits podcast earlier. Y'all could check out as well, talking about the situation going on at Howard University, that fucked up situation there. So just make sure if you're watching this, you better be watching Afeni next up. Don't miss it.
Just on Afeni, just want to say I love her. When we were at the March for Medicare for All, she was making sure everybody was together. She checked for everybody. She kept
slowed down for people. She's amazing.
She's a queen.
She's the next Fred Hampton for real. Like she's the next.
Afeni's the queen.
James, any last words? Anything you want to promote before we wrap it?
She's your queen.
Sorry. My nigga got a fresh ass haircut. He feeling good. Let me see your haircut,
I'm just trying to look good for all my peoples. So yeah, JB show is going to be Sunday. Next Tuesday, the JB Font show on my channel. I'm going to be having because I just started my new channel on Tuesday.
Subscribe.
So yeah, but yeah, the JB Font show on Fred Hampton Leftists will be this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have the host of the political, the Gentle Rambler. I'll be having him on, so we're gonna have a great conversation and tune in for that.
Nice.
So make sure you guys check out FredHamptonLeftists.com. Please like and share. I appreciate all the support. Because the algorithm has not helped us. We only grow to the point we at right now because you guys been sharing, and we building a real community. Okay. And that's why I feel James, what's up?
One more thing. I just want to thank Michael Lederer for the tip on Rockfin, and thanks for watching us on Rockfin, everybody. All the people that's watching us on Rockfin.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I have to give a shout out to my brother Alim. Is his birthday today?
Happy birthday, Alim!
Happy birthday, Alim!
Happy
birthday, brother!
To you. Okay.
This is Fred Hampton Leftists. Check us out. We'll be back with Afeni in an hour. We sign out. Take care, guys.